In this video we're going to talk about comments in more depth, and then blocks and statements, and we'll also talk about word wrap. In other words, how to handle very long lines of code that can be very annoying. So crank up a project as I have done here, and first notice that this is a single line comment, right? That one. So in other words, I'm just using the template we made earlier. I replaced the word functionality with features to make it simpler. Alright, so to add another one of these, you can just type another single line comment, and then another single line comment still. Now, believe it or not, these immediately define collapsible regions. You see this? I can collapse these into a single one. And in fact, I can push these down, and I can click here, highlight it, and I can pull down everything as a single unit and then expand it there, see? And it redefines the collapsible region down below. So keep that in mind, that's a nice feature. Highlight and then drag up and press hard with the left mouse button and then release. Like that. Next. Multi-line comments, they take this form. So we have slash and then star and then star and then slash. And I can type in between them. For example, you can say, this is a great day to be alive because it's the only one we truly have, like that, correct? And notice all of these are greened out. That means this is a multiple line comment, and the one in the middle doesn't take any special symbols around it to decorate it. And the same principle applies. This defines a collapsible region. You see? There you go. So now it's been collapsed. Alright, next, this is what you can do. You can click there, left mouse click, and then you can drag this up and down the same as with the single line ones. And release, and then it expands as you see here. Okay, so that is an example of a multi-line comment. There you go. And remember, comments are primarily for humans to read, but not only. There you go. They can be used for documentation and so on. Okay. So let's collapse this. Now let's talk about blocks of code. Well, what is a block of code? It's just a grouping of some code. So for example, relative to where it says namespace, the stuff inside it that I've just highlighted, you can think of as a block of code, relative to the namespace. Relative to class program, this over here is a block of code. Relative to static void main, this over here is a block of code. Okay? There's nothing inside it, but it's a block of code. So let's define some statements. So you're going to say console.writeLine, and then here you'll say this is a great day, close that with a semicolon. In programming languages in general, a statement is a line that expresses a complete thought, a complete action has been taken. So this line prints something to the console window. That is a complete action that's been taken. Okay? And then you say you have console.read key, as we've learned before. Again, so now we have two statements grouped together within a block. That is how you think of it. And of course, notice that these things, because they're delimited by these curly braces, they're collapsible, you see, into smaller units. Like that. Okay? And again, if you hover your mouse here, it gives you a preview. Hover your mouse over these comments also gives you a preview. Likewise with the multi-line comment, you see that? So this is all, very detailed and beautiful. Okay, next. Imagine you have a very long line of code. Okay, this is a great day to be alive because it's the only day we truly have. And how did that happen? You see, it introduced that little arrow that wraps over there. Okay, how do we make that happen? This is what you do. Go to Tools, Options, okay, and then here under Text Editor, find C# and then find General, and then enable word wrap. If you don't enable that, and click OK, you see now it's not visible anymore. You see? Now I've got to scroll over to see the rest of it, like that. So to enable that, Tools, Options, and then word wrap, and it says Show Visual Glyphs for word wraps. Okay, turn that off for a second and click OK. So now it's wrapped to the word, but it's not showing that little arrow. And I think the little arrow actually looks kind of cool. So let's go back there, Options, and Show Glyphs. There you go. So now you've got a little arrow to indicate that. And notice how smart it is. If I take this panel and expand it by pushing to the left, you see it's going to see what it's doing? It's generating multiple of those things you see now. So there's one and there's another one. And I guess if you squeeze these together very tightly, it's going to generate as many as it makes sense to do so. Okay, there you go. So that is what we call word wrap with a glyph. That little symbol there is a visual glyph. And then let me hide this away. Okay, now it looks like this, you see? There you go. Another common practice, of course, is this. Notice that as you nest blocks together, so this block is nested, and then this one is nested in the class program, you see that block? So when you nest blocks together, make sure that you indent. This is standard programming practice to indicate the flow of the logical relationships from the outside to the inside. So indent as shown here. That's standard programming practice. And that's it. So thank you very much. And let's expand this. And again, also besides giving you the videos, you also have PDFs of the code available in the sidebar, so you can view those.